Martin Hall joined by Rory McIlroy and his coach Michael Bannon. We're here in the short game area. A nice, high, soft lob shot. That one sat down really quickly. So this is a little different than the low runner by a number of ways, isn't it?
It is. It definitely is. It's. I think the whole, the setup's different. Where you're trying to return the club to is a little bit different. A little more of a fuller swing, a little more wrist set, like cock of the wrists and recock of the wrists on the way through. So, yeah, it's much different.
Well, let's go through those. You said the setup was different. So what is different between this and the lower shot?
Yeah,
What's different for Rory?
So the lower shot, I would set up sort of, quite close to feet close together. Anything, the ball a little bit back in my stance and weight on my left side. With the high shot, what I try and do is I open my stance up a little bit. I get the ball a little bit further forward in my stance, and I try to get the shaft angle more vertical, straight up and down, not maybe as much of a forward lean. And then all I'm trying to do is, I'll open the face and try and return the golf club back to this position it was at address.
Yeah, that was extremely good. Michael, Yeah, that was extremely good. Michael, what sort of things do you look for and help Rory with? Not that he ever needs very much help with this part of the game.
It's just checking all the positions there, making sure that the setup position is that little bit more forward, his left foot's angled out, and that the shaft is 90 degrees. And that then when he does that and he's the face open, he has to use the bounce, making sure the bounce and the club releases below the ball to create that height.
Yeah, so probably with the lower shot, maybe the weight favours the front foot a bit. Where would you feel the weight is here, Michael, for Rory?
Well, I mean, I think it's still a little bit on the left, Rory.
I still pressure into my left leg. It's not as if I'm trying to, because I feel, you lean back or you're gonna bottom out before the ball, and you're gonna either hit it fat or hit it thin. The club's gonna bounce into the ball. So I still feel like your sternum has to be over, is the center of gravity. It has to be over the ball. So, I'll still pressure into this left leg. I'll open my left foot up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'll try and keep the shaft nice and vertical and do that.
There is a lot less lateral movement through the ball with the weight transfer. It's more of a rotation around with the body, so the weight doesn't move that much to the left side.
And I notice, obviously, that the stance is a little wider for the higher shot.
Yeah.
Look, one thing that strikes me as I stand over here for both of you, either of you to comment on, ordinarily, we think that the ball takes off more or less the direction of the leading edge of the club.
That's
ordinarily.
right. Yeah.
Does not seem to be the case here. Shall we talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with a bunker shot. You open the face wide and you stand pretty square. I mean, I think you have to stand square to be able to use the bounce properly. If you start to get open, the shaft starts to go forward, and then you'll have that leading edge digging in. So, yeah, it's different than a lot of clubs or a lot of shots where, if I stood this way with a 7-iron and tried to hit a shot, the thing would go straight right. But with this club being able to open, that the ball starts really on your path line rather than on the face angle.
I think the loft overrides the face angle with these shots.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this might be the one club that does. Now, you mentioned bounce. Obviously, you know what it means. There'll be people watching this piece we're filming here. So for you, Michael, what does bounce mean for you? And then for Rory, what does it mean for you? So, Michael, bounce for you?
Well, the bounce is the angle between, sort of at the base of the club, between the back of the club and the front of the club. And you want that to be able to slide or glide through the ground so that you don't want the bottom edge to catch or dig into the ground as you come through the shot. It makes for far better contact on the golf ball, and the club doesn't get caught up in the grass as you're coming down.
And how do you, if indeed you do even think about it, the level, how do you make sure you are using bounce? And how particular are you about your wedges, by the way?
Yeah, definitely. So I think having a wedge with a proper sole grind is going to help you to use that bounce properly. So if you look at the sole of my wedge, it's got a dual sole, so it's got this little bit of camber, going towards the leading edge, but then there's this back edge, and that's the edge that I'm trying to use when I open the club up, because the last thing I want to do is use this leading edge and have it dig in and the ball go nowhere. So. Again, for me to try and, you expose that bounce, as we would say, and you Really, I'm trying to lie the club here and get that shaft of mine vertical. And then from there, all I'm trying to do is, if I try to return this club back to where it was at address, I'll be able to use the bounce and get a good strike on it.
You certainly have the look almost as if you're throwing the club head. Would you feel any right hand throwing there?
Definitely, but it's not right hand like you would feel in the golf swing where it's this. It's more it's underneath. It's sort of throwing it underneath the golf ball.
Rory, that was absolutely wonderful, of course. I don't think you're capable of doing anything that isn't. So look, the takeaway there at home, you have to practice your short game a lot.
You certainly do, yeah, an awful lot.
And you have to have good technique.
You do.
There it is.